Stop acting like a nurse. My brother hissed into my ear, loud enough for nearby officers to glance over, but quiet enough for deniability. The chandelier above the military ballroom flickered against his metals, turning his smirk metallic. I felt the old heat crawl up my spine. Shame, anger, restraint. Three ghosts that had lived inside me for years. And still I kept my hands steady around the glass of champagne I no longer tasted. I didn't look at him. I looked past him to the far corner of the room, where the general's son sat alone in his wheelchair, half shrunk into his dress blues, like a boy trying not to be noticed. My brother snorted. "Seriously, Lena, you patch up cuts. You're not a hero. Stop pretending." His words slid under my skin like a cold blade, the same kind he'd once used to carve apart everything I'd trusted. But this night wasn't about him. I stepped away from his shadow, letting the orchestra's soft swell guide me toward the boy who had no reason to even look up, until he did. And when he did, there was a tiny startle in his eyes, the kind you see in soldiers who've forgotten what gentleness feels like. "May I have this dance?" I asked. His breath hitched. I can't." "You can," I said, "with me." I locked the brakes off his chair and rolled him gently toward the dance floor. The music deepened and the room shifted, people parting like a tide, curious, unsure. Then I saw him, the four-star general, standing rigid, eyes glimmering. He looked at us as though he were witnessing a ghost, and when he walked toward us, slow and trembling, I felt the air crack. He stopped right beside me, voice thick. "Colonel, you've just saved my son's life." Behind me, my family froze. And that was the moment my revenge truly bloomed. My brother hadn't always been the poison in my veins. There was a time, God help me, when I believed in him, when I thought he loved me the way a brother should. We were inseparable as kids. I patched his wounds on the field, and he defended me from the neighborhood terrors. We made a pact of loyalty before we even understood what betrayal meant. But the military changed him. Ambition sharpened his confidence into cruelty. Rank tasted sweeter to him than blood. And somewhere along the way, he decided my quiet discipline threatened his loud rise. He wanted glory. I wanted purpose. He wanted attention. I wanted impact. And impact to him was unforgivable. The first sign was subtle. A rumor that my medical decisions were questionable. Then a denied promotion. Then a hearing. One anonymous complaint after another, each written with the precision of someone who knew my handwriting, my habits, my weaknesses. I traced the threads. They led to one person. My brother, the man who had sworn he'd always have my back, had been carving me open from behind. I didn't break. I didn't scream. I didn't confront. I simply began to plan. Revenge doesn't require rage. It requires patience. I learned everything about his aspirations, his obsession with becoming the general's protege, his thirst for a public reputation spotless enough to fast-track him to command. He wanted legacy, so I would give him a moment he could never erase. I built trust with the general's family, not out of manipulation, but out of genuine respect. His son, David, had been sinking deeper into isolation after the accident that took his mobility. People treated him like a symbol, not a human being. I spoke to him, trained with him, listened to him, helped him find pieces of himself he thought the wreckage had stolen. And the general noticed. He saw the way I treated his son like a soldier instead of a burden. He saw the steady hands my brother mocked. He saw what I was, what my brother tried to erase. The gala was timed perfectly. It wasn't staged. No, it was prepared for. I knew the general would speak that night. I knew reporters lurked in the corners. I knew my brother couldn't resist belittling me in front of his peers. I needed him to expose himself, and he did. When the general embraced his son and whispered gratitude, the room erupted in applause. Cameras flashed. My family stood paralyzed, realizing the man they dismissed as a simple nurse had just earned the highest-ranking officer's public reverence. My brother tried to step forward, plastering a smile across his face, borrowing glory that wasn't his. The general's expression hardened. "Captain," he said to my brother, voice cold, enough to silence the orchestra. "I've reviewed the anonymous complaints you filed against Colonel Hart." My brother paled. Yes, I had given the general the evidence. Every message, every forged report, every lie. The general continued. Her record is immaculate. Yours is not. My brother staggered backward as the world watched his ambition collapse, and for the first time, he was the one bleeding from the cuts he carved. Later, when the crowd had thinned and justice had settled over the ballroom like dust, I stood alone by the balcony breathing in night air that tasted clean for the first time in years. I wasn't triumphant. I was free. My brother had mistaken my silence for weakness. He forgot silence can be strategy. He forgot quiet hands can still hold power. He forgot something I will never forget. Some of us don't need to raise our voices to be heard. We just have to choose the right moment to speak.